Good evening, Miles of CMF. Tor, good to see how you doing. How you been? Evening, Miles of CMF. Joel, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Hi, Miles of CMF. Stormy, good to see you as well. How you doing, Stormy? How you been? Hi, Miles and all CMF. JP, good to see you as well, brother. How you doing? By the way, thank you to everyone from the CMF that's retweeting and liking the live show as well on X. Thank you so much to everyone that's retweeting as well. Right at the beginning. Thank you. Okay, so by the time everyone tunes in, I'll give you a gist of a rundown of what we're going to be talking about on tonight's live show. We're going to be talking about a sector that we don't typically talk about on this live show, which is the gaming sector when it comes to cryptocurrencies. So we're going to be talking about, on tonight's live show, we have a mixture of news to go through as usual. We have the blockchain gaming area to go through as well. It's, disrupting the entire gaming industry, let's say, in a way, and there's a lot of money being entered into gaming projects inside the crypto sector. Then we're going to be talking about perspectives on essentially the SEC scenario of Ethereum ETFs. And there's quite a lot of CEOs and fund managers and executives that are giving their different opinions on the matter of, is Ethereum going to get ETFs or not? Because we're getting very close to the deadline where the SEC is supposed to be announcing it now. It's either going to get pushed back, or it's going to get rejected, or it's going to be approved in less than a week. Then we're going to be talking about Vitalik Buterin and how he's going to be changing things in Ethereum because of how the EU announced. So yesterday on the live show, I was talking about how the EU has announced some regarding the DeFi sector entering the traditional sector, and some regulations are coming through and how the game is going to be changed. So Vitalik Buterin has decided to make some changes into Ethereum to make it more decentralized so they don't fall under the category of a company type of situation. Then we're going to be talking about BVNK and how they've integrated stablecoins with PYUSD, which is quite a amazing financial movement, and we'll talk about that as when we get to it. Then we're going to be talking about BlackRock's CIO, how he's hinting at the Fed rates and what's going on possibly there. Then we're going to be talking about Tether and how they've announced a P2P financial markets terminal using a hole punch technology, they're calling it, and how data is going to be entering into Tether's field as well, and how Tether is going to be approaching quite a lot of corporations. Then we're going to be talking about the godfather of AI, apparently. The godfather of AI has advised the United Kingdom government to start universal basic income ASAP. Interesting enough. Then we're going to be talking about Venezuela, and then we're going to be talking about Gemini and how their earn program has, got the green light to decide to pay back everybody now, which means a lot of people are going to start receiving quite a bit of cryptocurrencies. And let's see how the market will react to that. Then we're going to be talking about on tonight's lecture regarding BRICS. Then we're going to be talking about regarding Turkey and how they've actually implemented laws now. Yesterday and the day before, we were talking about Turkey and the United States and how there's some similarities going on there between regulations. But now Turkey has officially signed in the draft into bill, or the bill has been aligned to be signed, essentially to according to a date, which we'll go through it. Then we're going to be talking about the US regarding the two landmark crypto bills that's going to be happening next week. So the US House is going to be voting on two landmark crypto bills next week. Then we're going to be talking about some other things as well. So before we start off the live show, let's go inside the comment section and I'll say the disclaimer just like always. So, welcome to the CMF live show. If you're watching this for the first time ever, I talk about cryptocurrencies on this live show every single night. We talk about recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, and anything to do with tech and politics and regulations, because it all plays in together. Now, the disclaimer of this live show, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. And I also do Q&As, which means if you have any questions, put it down inside the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. So welcome to the CMF live show if you're watching it for the first time ever. And if you're a regular, let's go CMF. But before we start the live show, let's go inside the comment section before we go through the first news. I was Dennis, good to see you on. How you doing? Morning, Miles of CMF. Shelly, good to see you on. How you doing? Morning. And he's gonna cut the fees in half too long. He's gonna cut the fees in half too. Hi to all and our family on X as well. Let's go, Shelly. By the way, thank you so much to everyone that's liking and retweeting the live show. I'm getting notifications. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Free and Forever. Good to see you as well. How you doing? Hi to everyone on YouTube. Let's go, JP. So, first news of tonight's live show is regarding the blockchain gaming sector. And again, it's a topic that we don't typically cover, but we're going to be talking about a mixture of news, so we'll give it a go. So, blockchain disruptive impact on gaming. From finance and healthcare to supply chain managements and even voting systems, we are experiencing the impact of blockchain, which is true. Blockchain has entered into every single sector, let's say. Technology at a systematic level. Its core tenets of transparency, security, and decentralization are proving and continue to be a potent recipe for change. Blockchain has empowered individuals and promoted new ways of interacting with the world around us. One of the industries has been impacted the most, essentially by the influence of blockchain technology, has been the gaming industry. The industry was estimated to value of an exceeding $200 billion, is no stranger to a disruptive scenario. From the rise of mobile gaming to the explosion of esports, the gaming industry has consistently adapted to new technologies and other consumer preferences. Now the concept of play to earn, P2E, is rapidly gaining traction. This gaming model offers players ownership of in-game assets and the potential to earn real-world rewards through gameplay. According to Dapper Radar, in January 2024, the number of daily unique active wallets (UAWs) interacting with P2E games reached 1.5 billion users, which is a lot. This was 28% of that month's entire industry, actively and highlighted the increasing user base in this space. This shift is attracting a new wave of users in the cryptocurrency world, while reshaping the gaming and esports scenario. In this, essentially, we will be diving into the disruptive impacts of blockchain technology on gaming, the rise of play to earn. The advent of play to earn games has brought a fundamental change in the player experience. Traditionally, gamers dedicated their time and resources to virtual worlds, acquiring in-game items and characters with value within the confines of gameplay. Blockchain technology has disrupted this model by introducing the concept of ownership. Players can now own unique digital assets with a game through NFTs. These assets not exclusive to the gameplay alone, they exist on the blockchain, which is a secure and transparent digital ledger that allows players to freely trade, sell, or rent them on a secondary marketplace. This creates a dynamic player-driven economy within the game, promoting a deeper connection and giving players a true sense of ownership over digital experiences. In 2022, the global play-to-earn games market was valued at $32.9 billion. Now, there is also a few members inside of CMF that are really big inside the gaming sector as well. And gaming is going to be big. The moment the metaverse scenario takes off, which Apple's metaverse scenario didn't really take off that much because it was overpriced and nobody's really interested right now. But gaming will, do its bit inside the blockchain sector as time goes by. This figure is projected to increase, because it's quite a lot already, $32.9 billion. And this figure is projected to increase at a 17.93% to $88.6 billion by 2028. Ownership, however, isn't where the disruptive stops. The play-to-earn model synthesizes long-term engagements and rewards skilled players for their dedication. Imagine earning cryptocurrency or valuable tokens through your gameplay, competing with reward prizes for accumulating tradable in-game resources. With play-to-earn, players can potentially generate income through their passion for gaming, blurring the lines between entertainment and work. Interesting enough. The rise of play-to-earn gaming is just the beginning as blockchain technology continues to grow and integrate seamlessly into the gaming experience. Even more innovative models will emerge. There are some already move to earn, which there is actually. There's quite a lot of these sporting applications going around inside the blockchain sector, which is move to earn. Basically, the more you walk, the more tokens you get, or watch to earn. The more things that you watch, you earn tokens in return. This is also going on as well inside the crypto space. This disruption is regarding gaming, empowering players and creating an entirely new revenue stream within the industry. The future of gaming is being shaped by blockchain, and the possibilities are vast and exciting. which is true. Now, the projections of the gaming sector is quite impressive. $88.6 billion it should reach, according to the data, by 2028. Now, you might think that's very far off. In reality, it isn't. That's quite a lot, actually. Obviously, it's nowhere near the projections of tokenizations, for example, or anything else, but still a massive area, $88.6 billion. I mean, I've said this before. In 2023, I said that when most people lose their jobs due to AI, and we're going to go through the topic of that as well regarding AI, because we have, the godfather of AI giving opinions to the United Kingdom government about how most people will lose their jobs to AI, and that the United Kingdom should be looking into universal basic income. So we're going to go through that as well a little bit later on tonight's live show. But yeah, I've talked about it essentially in 2023 regarding, quite a lot of people losing their jobs due to AI, and that most people will probably end up living in the metaverse to be able to pay their rent. Obviously not now, but give it about 10 years. Or 5 years, because AI is rapidly growing very quickly. If the metaverse catches up, that could possibly be what will happen. Because if you can't get a job in the real world, then you're going to be paid living in the metaverse, which means everybody will, well, it'll be easier to brainwash people, let's just say. I was going to say something else, but I don't know if I can say that on live. Sorry about this, I'm shaking the camera. Just trying to put my iPhone in charge. There we go. So, yeah, I've talked about it before in 2023, and to be honest, it definitely has grown. 88.3 was projected now. Before, it was never projected this much, but the gaming sector is definitely growing. So if you're inside the gaming sector, inside the crypto space, good for you, honestly. It's one sector I'm not really hefty in any sort of a way. More inside the financial and data side rather than the gaming sector, but, I always wish the best for everyone to make a lot of money, no matter what sector inside the crypto space they're in. Even if it's meme coins. Now, before we go to the next news, which is fund managers. Fund managers predict that the SEC rejection of Ethereum ETFs next week. So next week, the SEC is going to come out and either say rejected for Ethereum ETFs, or approved for Ethereum ETFs, or they're going to postpone it. Now, Grayscale can't sue the SEC this time around because Grayscale withdrew their application. So that should be an interesting play. But we're going to go through different perspectives of regarding executives and CEOs and how they think things will play out next week. Because if it's approved, then the market will become bullish, kickstarting everything again. So it's a good sign. But if it gets rejected, then everybody probably saw it coming. If it gets postponed, we also saw that coming as well. It is Gary Gensler. He does tend to postpone things to the last minute. Now, before we go through that news, let's start the comment section. Lena, good to see you as well. How you doing? Hey, CMF. Bilal, good to see you as well. How you doing? Miles, how are you? I'm doing great. Bilal, good to see you as well. How you been? Hi, Miles, the CMF. Sorry you're late, little. Don't worry. George, good to see you as well, brother. How you doing? Good evening, Miles, the CMF. Orphan, good to see you as well. How you doing? Hi, brother. Cowell, good to see you as well, brother. How you doing? My cousin is listening with me for the first time. Please spare 2 minutes to talk about Ripple, CBDC, and cross-border payments. No problem. Camel's cousin, how you doing? Anna, good to see you. So how you doing? Hello, Miles and family. How you doing, Anna? And Camel's cousin, how you doing? Welcome to the CMF live show for your first time ever. Regarding, so Camel just wants 2 minutes for me to talk about Ripple, CBDCs, and cross-border payments. Okay, Ripple, massive company, essentially working on what's going to be revolutionizing the financial industry. They are battling the SEC right now, but this case is absolutely bogus and will be dropped. Well, in terms of drop, they're going to be paying a fine and everything goes away. In other words, if you want to, sit on the big boy table, you have to pay some people off to be able to sit on the big boy table. That could be paying off politicians, or that could be pay off essentially the SEC, for example, or the CFTC in some scenarios. But Ripple is alongside the Bank of International Settlements. It's a PDF document titled Cross-Border Payments. Ripple's, sitting next to SWIFT. It's a public document. Anybody can go see it. It's also on the Telegram group of this live show as well, that document. But the Bank of International Settlements essentially has 11 blockchain projects going on. Now, who could say that Ripple does also have a hand in that scenario as well, because it is listed. I mean, Swift has, started the venture out with Chainlink into blockchain, but Ripple worked alongside banks that developed themselves and, did testing back and forth until everything was perfectly good to go. Now, the Bank of International Settlements is about 63 centralized banks under it, including G20 countries, which means the most powerful banks around the world. Cross-border payments is, going to revolutionize everything. It's already happening. happening, and we have test payments going around. The first test payments were essentially from the United Arab Emirates back to China, and China back to the United Arab Emirates. They're the first cross-border payments. There's some other cross-border payments testings going on as well. Ripple has an immense amount of partnerships under its belt, huge companies under its belt, huge contracts under its belt. They've acquired companies to acquire licenses with them, which is a very smart move, and effectively cuts down on time. So what they're going to be doing is definitely going to be revolutionizing on how things are played inside the financial space. And the advantage that has over Swift, which is their main competitor in this category, is that Swift is not only a payment tool, but it's also a political tool, which means that it goes around and sanctions countries, and a lot of people don't like that. Well, countries don't like that, jurisdictions don't like that at all, which is why Ripple has that edge over them essentially in the scenario. It's, in my opinion, it's a safe bet if you want to be inside the financial sector. There's no one else to look at regarding financial sector than Ripple or XDC or XLM or ACH. Even Chainlink is doing some movements for itself as well. And then we have the tokenization key area as well. But we also have the World Economic Forum that keeps on inviting Ripple over. They do speeches to the most powerful and wealthy people in the world. And then we have the International Monetary Fund, who's also on Ripple's side. They've done meetings back to back forward. There's their names mentioned everywhere on their documentations. World Economic Forum, Bank of International Settlements, International Monetary Fund, 63 centralized banks, SBI Holdings, Standard Chartered Bank, HSBC Bank, Mexico, and the list just goes on and on. IBM. The most powerful corporations in the world are working alongside it. So it's going nowhere. It's going to stay where it is, and it is going to be revolutionizing how things are going to be working inside of cross-border payments around the world. So, hoping that helped. And regarding CBDCs, it's going to be happening no matter what. Nobody can stop it. Every centralized bank, about 98% of the world is either, regarding different jurisdictions around the world, 98%, according to the Bank of International Settlements and the International Monetary Fund, are either in a research phase of CBDCs, test phase in CBDCs, or implementations of testing regarding CBDCs. 98% of the world is technically on that. And it's, again, public document from the Bank of International Settlements. And there's 24,000 crypto projects plus. There's only one technically working on CBDCs out of the 24,000 crypto projects. So it doesn't take a genius to figure out which one it is out of the 24,000 crypto projects, because only one of them has launched a CBDC platform. So, come on. There's your 2 minutes regarding CBDCs, Ripple, and cross-border payments. I hope that helped your cousin. Yod, good to see you as well. How you doing? Now, next news. Fund managers. Fund managers predict SEC's rejection of Ethereum ETFs next week. According to Coinbase analyst, the SEC might reject spot Ethereum funds that allow staking in the near term. In contrast to the enthusiasm that preceded the approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs, reports over the past weeks suggest that optimistic expectations for the Ethereum product's approval could cool down. Speaking with Bloomberg this week, Catherine, the general counsel for ETF, essentially applicant Bitwise, said that she anticipates a rejection next week due to the lack of public activity typically seen before approvals, which is true. The public is nowhere to be seen, to be fair, regarding Ethereum ETFs. There was so much hype behind the Bitcoin ETFs. The public was so interested behind Bitcoin ETFs. And that hype is not really there when it comes to Ethereum. And a lot of people don't know that Ethereum is going to get either rejected or approved or postponed next week. A lot of people don't know this inside the crypto space. That is what the SEC is going to be announcing next week. And yeah, she is right. Catherine is right. She's the ETF applicant from Bitwise, and they've applied for an ETF application for Ethereum. And even she thinks it might not be approved in any sort of a way. And she said that the public interest is not really there. And most people are this is what she said, word for word. Most people are universally expecting essentially disapproval order regarding the executives. Dowling noted, you're not seeing the types of public activities that you would see if there was going to be an approval. In a CNBC interview, now from a different perspective, in a CNBC interview, Van Eck's CEO, Jan Van Eck, also predicted a likely denial. Next week, the SEC's decision will confirm the fate of Van Eck's and ARK's Invest filings. We were the first to file as well as Ethereum in the United States. And we think Cathie Woods essentially are kind of the first in line for May, essentially, I guess, to probably be rejected, he stated. So Van Eck thinks it's going to be rejected as well, and Bitwise thinks it's going to be rejected as well. And they've all applied for Ethereum ETFs. unlikely the frequent revisions made to spot Bitcoin ETFs applications. There has been minimal back and forth between fund companies and the SEC regarding Ether ETFs. People involved in the talks with the Securities Agency reported that they had braced for negative outcomes. In the final month leading up to the spot Bitcoin ETF decision, the market was buzzed with activity, fund managers engaged in fierce free competition, while industry experts placed bullish bets. That's what was going on regarding Bitcoin ETFs. Not so much the scenarios going on regarding Ethereum ETFs. Bloomberg ETF analyst James and Eric were who've been quite correct on market movements so far, especially Eric, said that there's a 25% chance of the Ethereum ETFs being accepted. Eric recently expressed skepticism about a positive outcome, saying a nod is not happening. Why might the SEC decide to reject the spot Ethereum ETFs? The SEC chairman Gary Gensler has not been vocal about the Ethereum ETF filings. However, he clarified that the approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs does not set a precedent for other crypto ETFs. Concerns about the classification of most cryptos as securities remains a major obstacle to compliance. According to Scott Johnson, Van Buren Capital's general partner, the SEC must provide a clear and detailed explanation if they reject spot Ethereum ETF filings. One potential reason for the rejection could be Ethereum's classification. The SEC has not definitely classified Ethereum, and its decision might hinge on whether it considers Ether as a security. If the SEC views Ether as a security, then spot Ethereum ETFs wouldn't be allowed under current regulations. Which is something I talked about a while ago as well regarding the SEC and Ethereum, because they first have to clarify what it is, and they're going to waste time on that scenario most likely. Now, the SEC alleged investigations into Ethereum Foundation and the implementations for EtherScan staking features suggest a possible regulatory essentially direction. The SEC might not approve all spot Ethereum ETF application at once. Here's another scenario. Despite the uncertainty, Coinbase analyst David Han says essentially he sees that 30 to 40% chance of approval by month's end. He believes the correlation between CME futures and spot exchange rates, which was a pivotal for Bitcoin's ETF approvals, could similarly benefit Ethereum ETFs. However, like Johnson, Han noted that the SEC might focus on Ethereum's POS mechanisms as a reason for denial since regulations around staking are unclear. He suggested spot Ethereum ETFs enabling staking are unlikely to be approved. ARK Invest and 21 Shares recently amended their S1 form for the proposed spot Ethereum ETF exchange-traded funds by removing the staking component. The move is considered an effort to align with the filings with the SEC preference. So, quite a lot of perspectives on multiple CEOs, multiple executives from all over the corporation sector. And about across the range of the board, every single one of them said no. Regarding is Ethereum ETFs going to be approved, they were all on pretty much no. Bloomberg ETF analysts said there's about 25% chance and most likely going to be no. Even Coinbase analyst perspectives, they said there's about 30 to 40% chance, but it's also still a no. And Bitwise pointed out that there's not much enthusiasm going on inside the crypto sector right now about Ethereum ETFs. They mentioned that, even Vanik mentioned it when they were going through the Bitcoin ETFs. Companies were coming forward and saying, we're going to charge this much in fees and we're going to charge that much in fees. And all the corporations were coming in left, right, and center trying to outbid everybody on fees before they were even approved in January. So there was that excitement from the corporates, there was excitement from investors. Yeah, none of that is there for Ethereum ETFs, apparently, according to the executives or CEOs. None of that. There's not been a single corporation that's came forward and said, we're going to charge 0.20% once they get approved this week. Yeah, not a single one has said that. But they did say that for Bitcoin ETFs. Every single one of them was so excited. There was so much going on, nothing going on right now for Ethereum ETFs. So is it going to be rejected? Most likely. The chances are quite high. Is it going to be postponed? Most likely. Is it going to be approved? It doesn't seem to be. But you never know. But, the SEC does have to clarify what it is first. Is it a security or not? Now, on the topic of Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin is the next news we're going to be talking about. Vitalik Buterin addresses threats regarding the Ethereum decentralization in a new law. And what he means by that is the EU. So yesterday I reviewed on this live show regarding the EU and how they're coming out with some regulations for the DeFi sector, which is going to change the DeFi sector as we know it completely. 360 change inside the DeFi sector. And by that, the EU means that the DeFi sector is going to represent the traditional financial sector, where everything inside the DeFi sector will be regulated to a T. Except if there's a project that's actually out there that is fully decentralization, as in there is not an entity like Ethereum working on it or something like that. And they said if there's a project out there that's fully decentralized and it's just random people working on it and producing whatever they want, then that's decentralized. Fair enough. But if you have projects that are inside the DeFi sector and they have a team in some sort of a way, and so on and so on, then they're going to be classified as a company type of scenario when they're going forward. So the DeFi sector is definitely going to be revolutionized completely. And Vitalik Buterin has decided to come out and address some issues about Ethereum and possibly change how Ethereum operates so it falls under full decentralization and not type of an entity situation. So they can get around the whole EU situation that was announced yesterday. So before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section. We were here. Yard, how you doing? Good to see you. So either buy some XRP or get stock on CBDs and controlled by the government. Pretty much, yep. Much love, brother. No problem, count anytime. What Shelly said, absolutely facts. Do you think by 2028 there is no cash money left in the world? No, there's still going to be cash money left in the world. By 2028, there's still going to be money, cash money left in the world, at a much more, smaller level, in terms of numbers. There's still going to be cash circulating around the world, even by 2028. But the majority of places, or all the places, won't accept it. Already, there's a lot of places that don't accept cash. We don't even have CBDCs yet. And you can go to a lot of places, bars, restaurants, gyms, post office. You can go to a lot of places, and they don't accept cash already. It's card only. Even though, inside the UK, for example, you can't reject legal tender, which is British pounds, fiat money. You can't reject as a shop or a restaurant or a bar or a gym. You can't reject British pounds because it's legal tender. You can't reject paper money. However, some companies have outlined their policies to reject it, and they technically can't by law. But nobody's going to go through the hassle of trying to pay somebody at a bar £20, trying to get a lawyer involved. So they just walk out. So they can't reject it in general terms. But we don't even have CBDCs yet, and they're already stopping the usage of cash. And the closer we get to CBDCs, the more places that will not accept cash. And the closer we get to CBDCs, the more banks that will close down, the more cash points and ATMs that will close down. So there will still be some cash circulating without a doubt, but nobody's going to accept it. So what's the point? That's the real question. What's the point of having cash around 2028? If already there's a lot of places not accepting cash, and more banks are closing, more cash points are closing, more ATMs are closing, and once the CBDCs come out, which is not that far off, to be honest, at all, 2024, 2025, we already have some CBDCs circulating around the world in 2024. China, we have CBDCs. Brazil, there's some CBDC tests going on there. India as well. They've already released their CBDC. It's expanding slowly. Russia is getting very close to launching fully as well on a test phase with a small crowd. South Korea is getting close to already is launching. Hong Kong announced yesterday they're going to be handing out CBDC wallets. So we're actually inside that stage of CBDCs technically right now. And whoever doesn't launch in 2024 is launching in 2025. And by 2026, we have more CBDCs circulating. 2027, a lot more. 2028, a hell of a lot more. And by that time, if you're still holding cash, nobody's accepting it. And the only place that would accept your cash is a bank. And if you take your cash to the bank, what happens next? It gets turned into CBDCs. So the question really should be, what's the point of having cash in 2028? Because they tell you the option is, it's optional. It's going to be a hybrid option. Cash will work alongside CBDCs, but it's just an illusion because it isn't going to work alongside CBDCs. We don't even have CBDCs yet, and they're not accepting cash most places. So what makes you think when we have CBDCs, they will accept cash? It's just an illusion. So the real question, honestly, is what's the point of even having cash in 2028? That's the better question. Hello, Miles and CMF. Coin, good to see you as well. How you doing? We went to the football game at the stadium with about 80,000 people last weekend. You can't use cash inside the stadium anymore. Thank you, Shelly, for saying that. Look, Shelly's inside the comment section, and she's the top comment inside the comment section right now. She just said, she went to a football game at a stadium of about 80,000 people. Last weekend, she went to a football stadium, it was about 80,000 people, and they don't accept cash anymore. And we don't even have CBDCs yet. So the ideology of, CBDCs calm, cash can still work alongside it is dumb because we don't even have CBDCs and they're not accepting cash. So when we do have CBDCs, sure, yeah, it's definitely going to work alongside cash with CBDCs. Let's just all pretend we're dumb enough to believe that. Now, this is why, you want to be in crypto. It's a ticket to freedom. It goes CBDCs, which means your life is pretty much done. Then it goes cryptocurrencies, freedom. And then it goes privacy coins, ultimate freedom in a digital world. Now, but they're really trying to take away privacy coins. I mean, they've went after Monero, they've went after Dash, they've went after quite a lot of privacy projects. Now, Vitalik Buterin. Same here, Shelley. No cash at our hockey game in Canada, and even Freedom Forever is inside the comment section as well. As you can see, he just said he went to a hockey game in Canada, no cash. So the real question, honestly, below is, what's the point of having cash in 2028? Not is it going to still be circulating? What's the point? Vitalik Buterin addresses threats to Ethereum's decentralization. And it's only because the EU situation where they're trying to change the entire the DeFi space and make it traditional with regulations and KYC inside the DeFi sector, because everything's going to change. Vitalik Buterin, co-founder of Ethereum, has responded to criticism levied at the blockchain in a detailed blog post, breaking down three issues core to Ethereum centralization. MEV, minor or maximal essentially extractable value, liquid staking, and the hardware cost of running a solo node. Buterin noted that the concerns around Ethereum's design in these key areas are widely shared, adding they are concerns that they have many occasions had personally. However, Vitalik Buterin, said that the issues may not be difficult to overcome as some claim. In his post, he essentially published and said, this is what Vitalik Buterin said. First, addresses the issues of MEVs, or the financial gain that sophisticated node operators can capture by essentially reordering the transactions within the block. Buterin categorized the two approaches to the MEV, a minimization, reducing MEV through smart protocol designs such as CowSwap, and countering the attempting to reduce or eliminate MEV altogether through in-protocol techniques. While MEV countering seems like an alluring option, Vitalik Buterin notes that the prospects comes with some centralization risk, because that's what's going to be happening. But we'll go on. This is what it said, word for word. If builders have the power to exclude transactions from a block entirely, there are attacks that can quite easily arise, Vitalik Buterin noted. However, Buterin championed the builders working on MEV, countering through concepts like transaction inconclusion lists, which take away the builder's ability to push transactions out of the block entirely. I think ideas in this direction, really pushing the quantum of blocks to be as small as possible, are really interesting and in favor of going in that direction, Buterin said. Liquid staking and node operation. Vitalik Buterin also addressed the relatively low number of solo Ethereum stakers, as most stakers choose to stake with a staking provider, either a centralized offering like Coinbase or decentralized offering like Lido or Rocket Pool, given the complexities. Hardware requirements at 32 ETH minimum needed to operate an Ethereum node solo. While Vitalik Buterin acknowledges the progress being made to reduce the cost and complexities around running a solo node, he also noted once again there is more than what we can do, perhaps through reducing the time to withdraw staked Ether or reducing the 32 ETH minimum requirement to become a solo staker. Incorrect answers could lead Ethereum down a path. This is the important part. Incorrect answers could lead Ethereum down a path of centralization and recreate the traditional financial system with extra steps, which is what the EU was talking about yesterday. Correct answers could create a shining example of successful ecosystem with a wide and diverse set of solo stakers and highly centralized staking pools, Vitalik Buterin noted. The problem of high hardware requirements for nodes seems trickier to Buterin. Through he acknowledged that with a Valkyrie trees and upcoming EIP 4444 hardware requirements of a node could possibly eventually decrease to less than essentially 100 gigabytes and perhaps to a near zero if we eliminate the history of storage responsibility, perhaps only for non-staking nodes entirely. Vitalik Buterin finished his post by imploring the Ethereum ecosystem to tackle the hard questions rather than shy away from them. This is a good point he made, to tackle the hard questions when it comes to regulations regarding Ethereum, rather than shy away from them. Now, what Tether did yesterday was shy away from them because the EU asked stablecoins essentially to verify their sources. And if they want to be a stablecoin inside of the EU, then they must have some bank accounts in the EU holding some cash reserves or holding something in terms of assets. And Tether said no, which should, raise millions of questions on why Tether rejected full transparency when it came to the EU. And actually, by saying no, it means that the USDT can't operate in the EU if they carry on like this. And we all knew, here's the thing, just to give you a perspective on what happens when you don't listen to the EU or don't listen to governments. Because a lot of people inside the corporate sector think, a lot of people inside the blockchain sector think they're above governments. A lot of these blockchain companies, blockchain platforms, they think they're above jurisdictions and governments. And the last person that thought he was above the governments and jurisdictions, interesting enough, EU, was Binance and CZ. You see, the EU said to Binance and CZ, delist privacy projects. And Binance and CZ said, we'll think about it. Every other exchange said to Binance, we'll delist. Sorry, every other exchange said to the EU, yeah, sure, no problem. We'll delist all the, essentially privacy projects, no problem. Binance said, because they thought they're coming from a power of authority, they said, we'll think about it to the EU. And then they said to the EU, no, we want to give people the freedom of choice. So we will still list the privacy coins, which I get, and I'm all for people's rights, 100%. But then we all know how that story ended with Binance and CZ. And now Tether is rejecting the EU regulations by saying, no, we don't want to show you full transparency. We don't want to hold bank accounts in the EU and hold assets in the EU and prove that we can back our assets. And they're rejecting the EU. So we all know how that story ends regarding Tether. So on the Ethereum side, Ethereum decided not to shy away and fix their issues so they don't fall under, deep SHIT regarding the EU. We should have a deep respect. This is what Ethereum said. We should have a deep respect for the properties that make Ethereum unique and continue to work to maintain and improve on those properties as Ethereum scales, Buterin said. Vitalik Buterin added today in his blog post on X that he was pleased to see a civil debate among community members. I'm really proud that Ethereum does not have any culture of trying to prevent people from speaking their minds, even to when they have a very negative feelings towards major things in the protocol or ecosystems. Some wave the ideal of open discourse as a flag. Some take it seriously, Vitalik Buterin said. Now, love the guy or hate the guy, he made a lot of sense because him trying to not shy away from the EU, that shows, strength and willingness to be able to change Ethereum, to be able to stick around and not fall under the concept of taxation and centralization and so on that comes with it. But the other side, you have Tether, who just outright rejected the EU and said, no problem, we just won't operate in the EU if you're going to block us from exchanges because OKX removed USDT. Kraken is next. That's about to be essentially removing it as well. That's big moves. Next, it'll be Crypto.com. Next, it will be Binance. And the list will just go on of all the exchanges delisting USDT inside the EU. And then it will be, they have to delist it in the US. And then Canada, they have to delist it as well, which they already have some stable coins. And then, it will spread out to the Middle East, spread out to Asia. And, before you know it, USDT is, poof, gone. But before they do that, they have to replace it before they push it out. Otherwise, there'll be a major market collapse and BlackRock, Fidelity, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, they're all inside the market now. They don't want major losses either for themselves also. And then we also had USDT printing some extra billions yesterday as well, with no backings as usual. The next news to go through on tonight's live show is BVNK. Interesting enough, stablecoin news, but not related to Tether, to something else actually. Paxos. BVNK integrates stablecoins PYUSD for business payments. Stablecoins are entering the business payment sector. We're going to go through that as well straight after I go through the comment section. By the way, if you have any comments, put it down inside the comment section. I'm reading everybody's comments as usual, one by one. Even Miles and CMF. Manny, good to see you. How you doing? In Sweden, anywhere you can spend money for a service or to buy something doesn't accept cash. There we go. Sorry, over 50% meant I say okay. XRP Den, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been, XRP Den? And Camel, yeah, that's true. I've heard that quite a lot about Sweden. Hi, Miles and CMF. Sorry I'm late. What did I miss? Mike, good to see you as well, brother. How you doing? We talked about Vitalik Buterin and Ethereum. They're going to be changing things around. And then we talked about, obviously I just give the gist. And then we talked about the SEC regarding is Ethereum ETFs going to be accepted. And then we talked about the gaming sector as well. And how things are definitely heating up inside the gaming sector when it comes to blockchain. But now we're about to be talking about BVNK and how it's integrating essentially into stablecoins PYUSD for business payments is happening. Red flags, so much for their quarter 1 report claiming they are backed by the dollar. Let's go, Shelly. Because they're apologies about that, everyone. Because there are billions of dollars to be made in the EU, I wouldn't shy away either. Exactly. USDC looks like it will replace USDT by the looks of it. Which exchange delisted USDT? OKX exchange already delisted it for the EU markets. I haven't heard it about Sweden. I live in Sweden. I haven't heard it about Sweden. No, I have some friends that are Swedish. They come sometimes to London. They always talk about it. Eastern European, everyone prefers cash. Businesses as well. True, they do. But that will change. Things always change. Remember that. The world doesn't stay the way it is. Florian, good to see why you do. The world doesn't stay the way it is. Change is always bound to happen. It's about taking advantage of that change before it fully takes over, is what you have to do. If you want to be, above everybody else, you have to seize that change that's coming, take advantage of it before anybody else. If you don't, you get left behind and you get wrapped up with everybody else alongside you instead. Now, BVNK integrates stablecoin PYUSD for business payments. Payment infrastructures provider BVNK announces the integration of the US dollar pegged stablecoin PayPal USD. PYUSD. This is the first time we've seen PayPal USD expand in some sort of a way. This move broadens the BVNK's offerings to include 15 digital currencies, leading stablecoins, and 25 fiat currencies on their platforms. PayPal's USD, issued by Paxos Trust Company under the oversight of the New York Department of Financial Services, NYDFS, offers a trusted and efficient option for global payments. BVNK's role as an approved member within the PYUSD ecosystem allows them to directly mint and burn PYUSD tokens for their customers. BVNK customers gain access to a range of functionalities. With this integration, they can create PYUSD wallets, settle payments to suppliers, contractors, and employees globally, and accept PYUSD payments from consumers. Additionally, conversions to fiat currencies like euros and Great British pounds is also available. BVNK also addresses that PYUSD is not regulated in the United Kingdom and that crypto is a high-risk investment not protected by regulations. In case something that goes wrong, hence users should take and to learn more about it. BVNK co-founder and VP Commercial Strategy Chris Holmes said, "We're building the modern payment infrastructure to enable more businesses to operate across banks and blockchains and maximize financial flexibility. Stablecoins make up almost 90% of the payments we process, and they're very important to our customers as we settle global payments efficiently. We're thrilled to introduce the PYUSD to our platform. As a stablecoin that connects into PayPal's extensive payment network, it's a valuable payment option for many businesses globally. Nick Robnett, the head of assets growth at Paxos, said, word for word, as the dollar-pegged stablecoin that is issued by Paxos Trust Company, which is overseen by the New York Department of Financial Services (PYSD), is bringing greater trust to digital assets. We're seeing a growth every day as it's rolled out across the PayPal ecosystem. And we're delighted to team up with BVNK to give more businesses access to the PayPal essentially stablecoin and more options for how they move their money globally. Stablecoins are experiencing a significant growth with over $7 trillion settled on blockchains in 2023 alone. Monthly activity users surpassed 27.5 million users in April, with 47 million active wallet addresses. Today, they account for nearly 70% of all the blockchain transactions, eclipsing established digital currencies like Bitcoin. PYUSD, launched in August 2023, is an ERC20 token on Ethereum's blockchain. It generated significant traction with 11 million users trading PUSD within its first 6 weeks. By April 2024, it reached a market cap of $320 million. Backed by the US dollar deposits, treasury, and cash equivalents, PYUSD offers a one-to-one redemption guarantee. However, it's vital to understand the inherent counterparty risk associated with stablecoins, where their asset availability during insolvency events cannot be guaranteed, which is true. If PayPal goes bankrupt in some sort of way, or Paxos goes bankrupt in some sort of way, then yes, that currency will become absolutely useless because they are the back end of everything of that currency. But that's massive news regarding the financial sector again gaining some tractions. The business payments, the global payments that's going to be happening. PayPal just entered the ring as well. Good for PayPal, and the corporate sector is definitely expanding. The adoption rate can be seen there, definitely. Now, the next news to go from tonight's live show is regarding BlackRock. BlackRock's CIO hints at Fed rate hike, but there is a positive note. But before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section. We are here. USDC joins ICP with Chain Fusion for CKUSDC, like CKBTC already working. Let's go, Leroy. How you doing as well, brother? BlackRock CIO hints at the Fed rates hike, but there is a positive note. In the current week, the release of the US Consumer Price Index, the CPI data, brought a wave of relief to the financial markets, which I revealed them on this live show a few nights ago. But the BlackRock CIO has decided to give his perspective on how things will move forward now. This indicated a potential easing of inflationary pressures. Rick Ryder, the Chief Investment Officer of Global Fixed Incomes and the head of Global Asset Allocations at BlackRock, that is one hell of a title to have, made a bold stance regarding the report. BlackRock CIO comments on the CPI and Fed rates. The BlackRock CIO described the report as containing encouraging things. The development particularly essentially Matthews due to the persistently high inflation numbers seen in the past months. Moreover, Ryder highlighted that the recent CPI report offers a glimmer of hope. This is what he said word for word. We saw some encouraging things inside the CPI report, he stated, according to a Bloomberg report. In addition, he emphasized that the data counters a worrying trend of 3 months in a row of high numbers. This sentiment underlies a cautious optimism that inflation might gradually start essentially decelerating. However, Ryder analysis extends beyond the immediate impact of the CPI figures. He painted a broader picture of a fixed income market. The BlackRock CIO suggested that the US might be entering what he calls the golden era of fixed income, is what BlackRock CIO said. That the United States, in his perspective, is going to be entering the golden era of fixed incomes. He elaborated on this by saying, not because the rates are going to come down, but they can build a lot of yield in a portfolio. The crypto community has been expecting a Fed rate cut, but BlackRock's CIO perspective suggests otherwise. Nonetheless, this perspective underscores the attractiveness of fixed income investments in a current economic climate. Hence, higher yields can be secured despite the prospects of sustained high interest. Cooler inflation data ease concerns. The CPI, a critical measure of inflation, showed a smaller increase than in previous months. Hence, many see this as a sign that aggressive monetary tightening by the Federal Reserve could be having essentially its intended effect. The CPI data for April 2024 revealed that consumer prices rose by 0.4% from the previous months of 4.9% from a year earlier. This year-over-year increase, while still above the Federal Reserve's 2% target, represents a deceleration from previous months, where inflation had consistently posted higher figures. Notably, this marks the first time in over 2 years that the annual inflation rate has fallen below 5%. Experts suggest that the peak of the inflation surge may be behind us. Moreover, the Bitcoin price rallied above $65,000 after the release of this report, indicating a positive sentiment, which is true. When the CPI data came out, the market did rally straight behind it, and the market stabilized, 1 to 2%, let's just say. But in a very short and simple manner, what he's trying to say regarding essentially the golden era of fixed income, if we do go, essentially through that rate cut scenario, which the crypto space is expecting, and he is saying the other way, if we do go through the rate cut scenario, we could be essentially, the market will do great if we go for a rate cut scenario. So, because when you have rate cuts inside the market space, as I said previously, investors become a lot more riskier with their bets inside inside the market space. For example, Wall Street becomes a lot more riskier, corporations become a lot more riskier, which means they go towards the crypto assets because they're volatile and they're riskiest bets. If we don't have rate cuts, then they don't go towards riskier bets. However, if we don't have rate cuts, that means inflation is increasing. If inflation is increasing, then people will still run to the crypto sector to hedge against inflation. So if we have rate cuts, people will still go to the crypto space because, riskier bets will be on the way. If we don't have rate cuts, people will still go to the crypto space because it's a hedge against inflation, which means because inflation is going higher. So either way, we're looking good. And that's one thing the BlackRock CIO forgot to mention. Because either way, you're looking good in the market space. And the market is still stabilizing itself. Not much major downfalls, any sort of way. Still stabilizing itself. Now, the next news is quite interesting, which is the godfather of AI is what he's called. The godfather of AI advises the UK government to start UBI. If you're thinking, what is UBI? It's Universal Basic Income. And the reason why he's suggesting it is because AI is about to replace everyone. And everybody needs to go on Universal Basic Income. Universal Basic Income is basically CBDCs. But before we go through that, let's go to the comment section. And he's known as the godfather of AI. Just an update on the fight. Tyson bleeding. Sorry, mouse. No problem, XRP then. So, the godfather of AI. Godfather of AI advises UK government to start Universal Basic Income. Now, a lot of people inside the crypto sector have been talking about the Universal Basic Income. How, the majority of people will be going on it. Because a lot of people will lose their jobs, especially office jobs, 9-to-5 jobs. Jeffrey Hinton, a world-renowned artificial intelligence AI expert. He's a world-renowned artificial AI expert. Often referred to as the godfather of AI, recently consulted with members of the United Kingdom government at Downing Street. Things are, getting, vital when somebody's invited to Downing Street to have a conversation with the UK government, where he advised lawmakers to consider adapting a universal basic income, UBI, to deal with the impending threat of job losses due to AI. And it's starting very slowly. Until recently, Hinton worked for Google, developing high-level AI features for neural networks, the underlying technology that powers most modern generative AI systems, such as Google's Gemini and OpenAI's ChatGPT. This guy's been around everywhere. According to Hinton, the AI revolution will most likely benefit the rich. Yes, 1,000,000%, because they're the ones that are going to be benefiting from it, and the people that lose their jobs, not so much. Laypersons, blue collar workers, and those employed in jobs can be automated, stand to lose their means of income, and that's going to be bad for society, he recently told the BBC in an interview as well. He said, word for word, I was consulted by people in Downing Street, said Hinton, and I advised them that universal basic income was a good idea. Hinton isn't the only major player in the field of AI who believes that we'll need UBI to offset the impact the automation will have on the human economy. And he is true. It is true what he's saying. It's not just the UK that's going to go through this scenario of universal basic income, because a lot of people lose their jobs, which means people obviously need to make a money. They need to make a living, otherwise there'll be mass protests and so on. So the way to do that is obviously pay the people off who lost their jobs. And how you pay people off? Using CBDCs, coming from universal basic incomes. And it's not, again, not just for the UK, it's pretty much worldwide scenario that's going to be happening. A lot of people lose their jobs. Already a lot of people have due to AI. Now, prior to becoming one of the most famous CEOs in the tech industry, OpenAI's co-founder Sam Altman studied under Hilton. Just to put in perspective, Sam Altman, OpenAI, he studied under this man titled the Godfather of AI. OpenAI co-founder Sam Altman studied under Hilton and helped pioneer the neural network. These days, Sam Altman is known for his tenure of OpenAI's top brass, as well as his full-throttled support for UBI. And Sam Altman is obviously in favor of UBI, Universal Basic Income. Why? First, he studied under the Godfather of AI. Second, he's the one creating the AI. Obviously, he's fully aware that AI will be taking over people's jobs. Third, Sam Altman actually once mentioned about a week back ago that when we get ChatGPT 7, a lot of people would lose their jobs. Right now, we're ChatGPT 4.0, and it's impressing the hell out of everyone. If you've seen ChatGPT 4.0, you should be thinking to yourself, oh crap, if you do own a job, a 9 to 5 job in an office, you should not be looking at the video of the ChatGPT 4.0 and go, wow, this is so impressive. If you do own a 9 to 5 job, you should be looking at it and go, oh crap, because we're at ChatGPT 4.0 and it's this impressive. When it gets to ChatGPT 7 is when Sam Altman said, yeah, the majority of people probably lost their jobs by then. So obviously he's in favor of universal basic income, and it's going to be CBDCs. And don't forget, Sam Altman also has another project regarding WorldCoin, where you scan your eye and you get that free tokens that is given everybody, creating wallets for everybody as well. Aside from saving humanity from the employment displacements through the advent of UBI, both Hinton and Sam Altman have expressed their beliefs that AI could pose an extensional threat to humanity. Hinton, reportedly the godfather of AI, and reportedly left his post at Google so that he could speak more freely about this concern over the impact AI could have on the future of our species. And Sam Altman, for his part, claims the entire reason that he co-founded OpenAI with Elon Musk and others was to ensure that advanced AI systems were developed carefully and for the benefit for humanity. In his recent BBC interview, the godfather of AI said we may only have a handful of years before the threat becomes imminent with AI. This guy is the godfather of AI, and he's saying on BBC News that we may have in the interview he says we may have a handful of years before AI fully takes over. So that means ChatGPT 7 is not really that far off. This is what he said, word for word. My guess is in between 5 and 20 years from now, there's a probability of half that will have to confront the problem of AI trying to take over. AI taking over. Not just taking over jobs, but taking over in general is what he's talking about. Do you know what I like about these people? This man known as the godfather of AI, or Sam Altman, or anybody that's in AI. The best part I like about them is their comedy, because they come out and they go, oh yeah, AI is dangerous, AI is going to take over everything, AI is going to make people lose their jobs, it might take over the planet, it's worse than nuclear weaponry, AI. And these are the people creating AI. If it's this bad, then why? Why should be the main question? You're creating it, but then you're promoting it as a nuclear power. Then why create it? It's very odd. It's like if I owned a car company and I said, yeah, I've created this car, 2,000 horsepower, but when you reach the top speed of 120, it will just burst into flames. It makes no sense. Why would I, promote myself in that sort of way is another question. Honestly, if I owned a car company, it's like, honestly, me doing a BBC interview and then say, yeah, I created a car, 2,000 horsepower. When it reaches the top speed of 120, the car bursts into flames. Then why create the car? They make no sense. The Godfather AI makes no sense. Sam Altman makes no sense. The people that create AI, they always come out on the news and go, oh yes, worse than nuclear power, everyone will lose their jobs, AI could take over, could damage the world completely. Then why create it? Big question, honestly. Venezuela to shut down cryptocurrency mining farms. This one's a bit interesting as well. But before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section. So, I don't see AI replacing scaffold builders, iron workers, which is a fact. But they're also in China, they're creating robots that do that as well. And some other crafts that work in plants anytime soon, which is true. Which is true. Regarding manual labor, you're probably the last. Manual labor is the last class to be replaced by AI. Anything to do with offices, replacement, post replacement, delivery replacement, accountants replacement, so lawyers replacement, doctors. There's robots to neurosurgeon now, with AI and so on. They do a lot of testing. But yeah, manual labor is definitely the last class to ever be replaced by AI. Definitely. AI on computer cloud harvests your data and can hide bad intent. AI and AGI on ICP doesn't use cloud and has transparency plus unlimited scalability and unlimited transaction speed with cheap storage. Let's go, Leroy. Miles, you should be in 10 Downing Street. You could educate them in serious. I'm serious. Let's go, XRP then. Yeah, obviously, what they do makes no sense. But obviously, as I said, if you're smart enough, you would take advantage of scenarios like this. So, you should always be taking advantage. Yes, AI, is going to make a lot of people lose their jobs. And I said, it goes back to that old saying, when, people were working on a farmland, when the workers were working on the farmland, the tractor comes along and then, people say, oh, I lost my job in the farmland. But whoever learned to, drive the tractor, use the tractor, kept his job and got paid more. So if you get to, that AI is going to start taking over very quickly. It's already taken over in some companies. Some companies are, getting rid of their employees and replacing them by AI. It's actually happening. Spotify is doing it. Amazon's doing it. There's so many companies doing it already. So what you should be doing is not, not on the side of, oh, I'm losing my job, but on the side of, how can I take advantage of AI is what you should be really doing. You should always try to be looking for, how can I take advantage of this? Not, oh, this is happening to me. I can't believe this is happening to me. I can't believe AI is going to replace me. Never think like that. That's the worst type of thinking to do. What you should be thinking about is, how can I use AI to my advantage? How can I make money with AI? How can I do this with AI? How can I do that with AI? Is what you should be doing, because it's going to be coming either way. There's nothing stopping it. So take advantage of it, but never sit on the sidelines and go, I can't believe this is happening. Don't ever do that to yourself. Don't go through that thought process. Go through the thought process of, I need to take advantage of this. Especially if you have kids. If you have kids and you're a parent watching this, put your kids on learning how to use AI. Because I'm telling you right now, they're going to have incredible jobs because they're going to be way above everybody else. Tell your kids to start learning about blockchain, learn about AI, because these are two categories that it's going to open doors for them everywhere. If you're a parent, start learning as well. Take advantage. Never sit on the sidelines and go, oh, I can't believe this is happening. No. That's the worst mindset to have. The mindset you should be having is, how can I take advantage of AI? I use AI all the time for my own self, for my own business. All the time. It helps me with my business plans, helps me with my business deck, helps me with my emails. I use it for the basic stuff, but there are other aspects people use it for to make money out of it as well. But life does get easier, trust me. I always take advantage of everything. Business-wise. Can AI and creating content as well? I mean, it does everything. That problem of editing for me, that problem of shortening of electricity. Oh, here we go. Can AI get the smart that it can think on its own and make decisions like a live brain? Well, they are doing testings on it, to be fair. That problem of shortage of electricity for Venezuela, you mean, could be solved, but maybe they want to make Bitcoin look bad for them, something else, less energy incentives. Leroy, good that you said that because not Argentina, Venezuela. But what you said is yes, actually on the money, and I'll explain why it's on the money as well. They are trying to make Bitcoin look bad because I'll explain how. For instance, steel or no, they can't do that. Yeah. What happened to Filecoin? It's not moving. Give it some time. And Filecoin, AR, they're all good. Same. Let's go, Shelly. Now, taking advantage of it, let's go, Shelly. Honestly, best mindset to have. Always just think to yourself, how can I take advantage of it? Not, oh no, I can't believe this is happening. That's the worst mindset. How can I take advantage? Anything that happens. In terms of business, obviously. Venezuela. Venezuela to shut down cryptocurrency mining farms, which is regarding what Leroy said. Venezuela Ministry of Electric Power announced it will disconnect all cryptocurrency mining farms from the national power grid. CEN, Sigma, Electrono National is essentially what their electricity companies are. The measure aims to control the high energy demand from these mining farms and ensure reliable service for citizens. So they're doing this for the citizens of Venezuela, essentially. And they're stopping Bitcoin mining, which makes, Bitcoin mining look bad on the news. But it's quite odd. The purpose is to disconnect all electricity mining farms in the country from the CEN national electric systems, avoiding the high impact on demand, which allows us to continue offering an efficient and reliable service to all Venezuelan people, is what they mentioned on the news. Notably, the announcement followed the seizure of 2,000 cryptocurrency mining machines in the country. They seized, apparently, 2,000 cryptocurrency mining machines in the country in Venezuela. This action is a part of the government's ongoing anti-corruption campaign. Venezuela has an anti-corrupt campaign. Just to, put it out there. Venezuela. The leading to threat arrest of several officials and state institutions. Corruptions with the national, essentially, regarding crypto assets. So they're really trying to, make crypto assets look bad. And I'll explain how this is funny and how Venezuela was tweeting a different tune, they were speaking, singing a different tune about 2 weeks ago. But, 2 weeks forward, they're singing a different tune. The National Superintendency of Crypto Assets, is what they're calling a SunCrypt, has been under reconstructing board since the arrest of the Syrian Giuseppe Remizio, and Remizio is in connections to Tarko El Asimo former, regarding their ministry and former president. On that note, El Asimo was charged with treason, embezzlement, misuse of influence, money laundering, and criminal associations. Venezuela's power grid issues a cryptocurrency minings. Venezuela has faced an ongoing electricity crisis since 2009, worsened by the massive blackouts in 2019 that left cities without power for up to 7 days. Frequent power outages have negatively affected the country's quality of life and economic activities. Therefore, the governor of Carabobo State, Rafael Lavaco, confirmed restrictions on cryptocurrency mining farms due to their significant electricity consumptions. He urged residents to report illegal cryptocurrency mining operations to prevent power shortages. Now, before I read any further on, this is quite funny because Venezuela is about to go under a new set of sanctions from the United States. And Venezuela announced, we're going to get around the sanctions and use USDT or cryptocurrencies in general, is what Venezuela said about 2 weeks, 3 weeks back. They said, we know that we're about to go under new sanctions and we're going to use USDT and, essentially nobody's going to stop us. And we're going to use cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin and USDT. Nobody's going to stop us, is what they were saying about 3 weeks back. And I revealed that on this live show. And now, fast forwarding, 3 weeks forward, they're saying, no, cryptocurrencies is bad. We're taking everything off the market and we're seizing all mining equipment. And on top of that, Venezuela fully aware that they have an electricity crisis since 2009. They're fully aware that since 2009, they have a massive electricity crisis. And 2019, they had a massive blackout for about 7 days. But they still did mining equipment. They still put Bitcoin mining equipment. They still mined Bitcoin. If you have electricity difficulties since 2009 and a massive blackout in 2019, it took you that long to realize, honestly, it took them Because the odd part about the story is it took them this long to realize that, okay, this is, we need to be stopping the Bitcoin minings because they're bad for electricity. I mean, the thing that's come to my mind is, what? You have massive electricity problems in 2009. You had a blackout in 2019. Still, you did Bitcoin minings, and now you're saying, oh, we're stopping it because of we have electricity problems. No shit, you have electricity problems. You had them before. So what is the real excuse of you seizing, essentially is what I'm trying to say, of your Bitcoin mining equipment? What's the real reason of you seizing your Bitcoin mining equipment? Because you know fully well you have electric problems. You've always had electric problems. So doing Bitcoin minings, knowing you had electric problems is funny. Stopping it and saying it's because we have electric problems is more funny. So the real reason is something else of why they're doing this and why they've randomly decided to throw somebody in the pot and say, yep, we've arrested this person for mining cryptocurrencies. It's like, they're being pressured by someone or something or an entity. And Venezuela is controlled by quite a lot of government entities, not themselves. So someone is putting pressure on them, without a doubt, because this excuse of, oh, because we have electric problems, so we're going to stop Bitcoin miners. You knew you had electric problems going into Bitcoin minings. To stop them is a funny scenario. And to throw someone under the bus is another funny scenario. And to be singing a different tune about 3 weeks ago, saying, we're going to go under US sanctions, so we're going to use cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, USDT, we don't care. That was 3 weeks ago. Fast forward today, all of a sudden they care. They're arresting people who are Bitcoin mining. And they're stopping it because of electricity problems, even though they've always had electricity problems. Something fishy is going on regarding Venezuela. I mean, if your neighbor, I mean, this pressure could be coming from anywhere. Honestly, this pressure could be coming from anywhere. It could be also coming from the US, because the US did tell Venezuela, don't use USDT to avoid sanctions. Don't use Bitcoin to avoid sanctions. This is what they were telling about 3 weeks ago. If this is what it said word for word. If neighbors see a house that and tell a person to turn off their farm or else report it. They're telling people to snitch on their neighbors, because when they turn off the light, because you have to give light to a man so that he can earn some real money, you are left without electrical services. As reported by the Alberto News, experts attribute to the crisis to poor maintenance and inadequate investments in the power grid. Meanwhile, the government blames sabotage and has promised to modernize the state-controlled power network. Overall, Bitcoin, BTC, and cryptocurrency minings are known worldwide for their high energy consumption. Countries like China, for example, have banned the activity to preserve their power grids, centralizing mining in fewer locations. True. But China also banned Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies right the moment they were about to release CBDCs. Could be coincidence. China bans cryptocurrencies and bitcoins and they release CBDCs so people can't access cryptocurrencies and are in CBDCs, or we can just say it was a coincidence. Therefore, there are fewer countries allowing this activity. The higher the security concerns will be, as a few Bitcoin miners will dominate the block discovery. Okay, this is all just to make Bitcoin look bad in some sort of a way, because even in the International Monetary Fund, Argentina owes money. So El Salvador owns money to the International Monetary Fund, and the International Monetary Fund told them, we can make the fines go away, even borrow you more money, just remove Bitcoin and remove cryptocurrencies from your country. And he said no. Good man for saying no to the International Monetary Fund. But he said no, and they're still carrying on. But Venezuela seems to be pressured. I don't know who's pressuring them, but somebody's definitely pressuring Venezuela to change their stance, because 3 weeks ago they were saying we will use cryptocurrency. Sanctions, nobody can sanction us, we're using cryptocurrencies, we don't care. Fast forward 3 weeks, we're seizing everybody's cryptocurrency mining equipments. Nobody's using crypto anymore. We have electric problems. They've always had electric problems. Gemini and someone's definitely pressuring them, and they're throwing people under the bus and saying, "Oh, this person's mining cryptocurrencies, arrest them." That person, they're trying to somebody has to go down for it. In other words, somebody has to go down for it. Is what's happening. Gemini earned to begin returning customers' crypto by the end of the month, as court approves Genesis bankruptcy as well. So next news we'll be going through. So it does make it makes Bitcoin look bad. It makes cryptocurrencies look bad when news like this comes on the news. And also from a country like Venezuela, who was singing a different tune 3 weeks ago, supporting it, and now fast forward 3 weeks forward, they're against it. You're so kind, Miles, giving us free content. I appreciate your work. Thank you so much, XLP Den, for the kind words, because they probably want them to build a new power grid for Bitcoin. Probably. The state electrical utility in Argentina under Libertarian president is providing electricity to mine Bitcoin in partnerships with mining companies, which is true as well. In Argentina, they're doing that as well. And also, they're using volcano power as well, something like that going on. You know, as facts, the truth, and this will make you famous on X. Thank you, XLP, then, for the kind words. Gemini Earn. Gemini Earn to begin returning customers crypto by the end of the month, as court approves Genesis bankruptcy. Genesis, the bankrupt crypto lender that collapsed in the wake of the failure of the Terra/Luna ecosystem, and the Three Arrows Capital won the appeal for its bankruptcy plan in the US courts yesterday, with a judge overruling Genesis owner Digital Currency Group DCG objection. So Gemini is about to be paying everybody back in Bitcoin. The US bankruptcy judge Sean Lane brushed aside complaints by DCG, the Genesis Crypto Creditors AD Hoc Group, and Office of the United States Trustee before ruling in favor of the plan, which will be the $3 billion in cash and assets to creditors. DCG had argued that claims should be valued in US dollars at the time of the company's bankruptcy filings in January 2023. Bypassing nearly a year and a half of gains across the crypto sector. In his rulings, Judge Lane rebuked this complaint, writing, DCG has objected to plan in which it has no economic stake. The record here clearly establishes that there is no sufficient value in the debtor's estates to provide DCG a recovery as an equity holder after unsecured creditors are paid. The plan provides for a multi-step process that allocates assets to creditors. By claiming the denomination and values these assets for distribution purposes, put simply to creditors, owed cryptocurrencies will be treated differently than those owed US dollars. Judge Lane also noted that due to the increase in price of digital assets after that time, the resolution was reached. It is currently anticipated that those creditors whose claims are denominated in US dollars will be receiving 100% of their loan balance, deferring payments of most petition interest, while creditors whose claims in cryptocurrencies will bear the shortfalls in funds. So, if you had money in Gemini, and I'll tell you the positive side about this as well. If you owned money in Gemini, you're going to be getting your full payment back. If you owed cash from Gemini, 100% you get that back. If you owed cryptocurrencies, you're going to get half the value of the cryptocurrencies back. Now, this might be seen bad for people who, obviously held cryptocurrencies in Gemini, but I'll also tell you the good side of it as we go along. While DCG may be able to, good side for the markets, while DCG may be able to appeal the ruling according to Bloomberg, it's unclear what legal justification they'd have for doing so, given the overwhelming shortfalls in their assets. Gemini Earn to begin the reimbursements. Following the news, the Wonkern twin-owned exchange Gemini released a statement calling the ruling a welcome decision. Yeah, of course, because they don't have to pay full price of the price the market is at right now. Before noting that it does not impact the global settlement among Gemini, Genesis, and other creditors in Genesis bankruptcy previously approved by the bankrupt court. As part of the deal regarding Gemini Earn, creditors will begin receiving the assets owed to them. Starting by the beginning of the month, the company announced approximately 97% of owed funds will be initially repaid. The company said that, and this is again, starting beginning of next month, essentially, will be paid. About 97% of people will be paid of the owed funds that will be initially repaid, the company said. And the payments will take the form of an in-kind reimbursement, meaning a customer who deposited 1 Bitcoin into Gemini Earn will receive that Bitcoin back, rather than the US dollar value of the token at the given date. This sets Gemini's bankruptcy response apart from the FTX, which will reimburse customers of the dollar value of their claims at the time of FTX filed the bankruptcy according to the current plan, which is also true as well. Regarding FTX, FTX very soon is going to be paying back everybody as well. The court's already approved it. They're going to be paying back everybody, but FTX is going to be paying back everybody in cash. That's a bullish side, because everybody who owed money from FTX will be getting cash, which means most likely those people are going to be re-entering the crypto markets with their new wealth that's been found, which was their own money previously, but they've now received it and they're going to most likely be entering the crypto market. So FTX's downfall was the market going. Now FTX repaying everybody is going to make the market should do essentially swing upwards, because everybody's receiving cash. into their bank accounts, which means those people most likely will be going to the crypto sector and buying, which causes a bullish scene. So their downfall caused the market a bearish scene, and their reimbursements from FTX is going to cause the market a bullish scene. Now, in Gemini's scenario, they're going to be paying back half in crypto, which could cause some volatility in the market space, and half in cash, essentially. Not that on the ratio of 50-50 exactly, it could be 40-60, 70-30, who knows. But it will definitely cause some volatility in the market. Now, it could be the good side, it could be the upside, or it could be stabilization scenario. But they've been approved, and it's going to be happening next month. So next month, essentially, we have to see how things will play out inside the market space regarding Gemini. Is it going to be positive, or is it going to be volatile? It's going to be bearish, or is it going to be stable? Because they will be selling, institutions will be buying, corporations. There's about 937 corporations inside the corporate sector. All these 937 corporations, some of them, or the majority of them, waiting for this Gemini case. So people re-enter the market space and they buy them out. Because corporations do tend to, do coordinated movements. And they're fully aware of the Gemini case or the Genesis case or the FTX case. They're fully aware of it. They're full of the footsteps. So are they waiting for these people to re-enter, either to sell or jump out so they can buy them in place? Because there are about 937 corporations in the market space. That's according to the 13F filings from the SEC. So corporations do tend to move in those packs as well, especially in coordinated movements. Are they waiting for that movement? We'll see next month. Now, BRICS. So that could be good news as well. BRICS currency is gaining momentum. Official affirms. Could be. BRICS currency is gaining momentum. Officials confirm. That's the next news we're going to be going for tonight's live show. But before we do that, let's go inside the comment section. What kind of money are they paying out? FTX? No, dollars. US dollars. FTX is going to be paying back everybody in US dollars only. So no Bitcoin, no Ethereum, no nothing, no cryptocurrencies. FTX sold everybody's cryptocurrencies in bulk in private auctions. They sold everybody's Solana in private auctions recently. And they sold everybody's cryptocurrencies in bulk in private auctions to corporations, essentially, or heavy investors. Minimum buy-in was about 10 million or 5 million. So now they have cash, and they're going to be using that cash to pay everybody back, which causes a bullish scene inside the market space, because those people will be re-entering the market space with new money. No, I mean, how much money do you think? How much cash? Okay, you mean in that terms, regarding the exact amount. Well, we don't know the exact amount, but it's going to be a ridiculous amount. It's going to be somewhere, in the billions. 900 million or to a billion or something big. But they're not going to be releasing everybody at the same time. It's going to be over time, but not over a long period of time, over a short period of time. But it's a ridiculous amount. They took a ridiculous amount, because they're not only paying back people. They're also, FTX is not only paying back people, but they're also going to be paying back the corporations they scammed as well. So everybody's going to be getting paid out in cash. So you're talking about quite a big, large number, which is definitely going to be causing ripple effects in the crypto space. The purchasing power will come through in that scenario. So it is in the billions. It's in the millions to billions. Because again, it's not exactly everybody at the same time. So it could be millions and then leading into billions. But bullish in the sense. BRICS currency is gaining momentum. Officials affirm. BRICS is essentially a governmental organization that has recently announced the development of their new currency mid the de-dollarization movement. Primary goal of the BRICS currency. This currency is intended to facilitate cross-border trade among the BRICS nations, which includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Apparently, the US is trying to maybe sanction India in some sort of a way, because they're part of BRICS, but also working alongside the US. In light of the bloc's ongoing efforts, de-dollarization, Russian President Vladimir Putin recently held a meeting with his Chinese counterpart, Xi Jinping, with the aim to strengthen their relationships between the two countries. In 2023, Iran became one of the 5 nations to join the expanded BRICS during the bloc's annual summit, making its first expansion efforts. According to TASS reports, Iran's ambassador to Russia, Kazim Jalali, revealed that Russia and Iran are collaborating with the initiative, as he described it, a diplomatic ties as the golden age. Over 60% of the trade between the two countries is already conducted in rubles or reals, which is the Iranian currency. This strengthens the use of local currencies within BRICS trade, promoting regional economic growth. He officially mentioned BRICS on the mission to set free from the US dollar supremacy. As the discussion of de-dollarization grows, the BRICS coalition has been formulating a comprehensive strategy to establish a diverse and balanced world, with the Russian president spearheading the project. Brazil's president shares the same sentiment, questioning why all countries are dependent on the dollar for trade. The voices advocating for their alternatives to the dollar are gaining prominence in international discussions. These recent developments challenge the notions that the stability of the dollar's regain as a stable, essentially because it's a one-eyed currency in a land of blind competitors like the euro and yen on yuan. As one economist bluntly put it, Europe is a museum, Japan is a nursing home, and China is a jail. Not my words, what was said. While this sentiment holds some truth, again, not my words, a currency issued by BRICS would bring a new dynamic. No, it wouldn't. And I'll explain why. In contrast to this notion, Jeremy Lau, the CEO and co-founder of Circle, has made a strong case for the defense of the US dollar. Obviously, Circle would make a strong case for the US dollar because they have USDC. But I understand why they did it as well. He pointed out that the countries such as China have been actively working to promote regarding the Chinese yuan, with the goal of challenging the dominant position of the dollar, which is true, which is what BRICS is about. A lot of people forget that, inside the crypto space or, whatever space you're in inside the X communities, but you forget that if it's your first day to politics or your first day to finance, then obviously, I understand if you're going to be, misguided. But a lot of people seem to forget that BRICS isn't about moving away from the dominance of the US dollar, because a lot of people would say this. A lot of people create these videos on crypto space and go, yeah, BRICS is about moving away from the dollar. The dollar's going to zero and BRICS is coming through. Where's the positive? Because if you tend to think about it, BRICS is mainly in control of China, which means if we go from underneath the dollar, the Chinese yuan is going to be the top currency. Not saying it's going to happen overnight, but if by some way America actually sits back on the sidelines and lets China grow, which they won't. But let's just say if they do in that la la land situation, if BRICS actually does succeed, BRICS isn't about a collective of nations coming together to start working together and using their currencies together. What do you think this is? Happy Land? That's not how it works. This is about China essentially pushing their currency on the BRICS nations and their currency on the rest of the world. That's what they're doing. It's nothing to do with a collective basket of currencies coming together. It's got nothing to do with that. This is China pushing their own currency. So you're going to go from under the US dollar to under the Chinese yuan. Where's the positive? You're going to go from one currency, which is backed by oxygen, to another currency, which is China's currency. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with China in any sort of a way, but we're going to go from under one currency to another. There's nothing to do with a basket of collective of currencies at all. That's the illusion they're giving out. So if it's your first day of finance and your first day of politics, I understand if you're going to get misguided. But if it's not your first day, you should quickly realize that it's about their own push. Do you think China cares about the basket of collective currencies? It's got nothing to do with that. And it's been pointed out many times, if you look where you're supposed to be looking, it's been pointed out many times that, that's what China's technically doing with BRICS. So a lot of people who are inside the crypto space creating these videos, BRICS is doing this, BRICS is doing... Why are you in favor of BRICS? There's no positive to BRICS for you in the Western world. Recent reports suggest that there has been a notable decrease in the dollar prominence over the past year. In 2023, it was observed that approximately 1/5 of all oil trades were conducted using other local currencies. No, it wasn't. A key factor contributing to this shift is the emergence of central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, which is true, this spot, as opposes a potential threat to the US dollar supremacy in cross-border transactions. No, it doesn't. And I'll explain why. I'll explain it with proof and actual facts. You can go check this out. India did their first ever oil trade using local currencies. And it was big news. It was all over the news. India does their first, oil trade not using the US dollar. It was huge news. But then there was one key factor everybody forgot to mention. You see, the guy who's in charge of oil trades in India, they did an interview with him. Indian news, you can go and watch it. It's been translated many times. And he was asked the questions of, are we going to be seeing India doing oil trades using the Indian currency from now on? And he said, it's a dream. His exact words were, it's a dream of ours to be able to do this. And he said, but no, we're still going to be using the US dollar. But the news never told you that. The news said India's done it. That India's going to be only, going forward with the Indian currency for oil trades now. This was their first oil trade, and that's all they're going to do. But the guy that's in charge of the oil trades in India said it's a dream, but no, we're still going to be carrying on the US dollar. And then another thing that the news forgot to tell you about is one part of the news that came out of Russia. You see, India and Russia have an oil trade agreement together. And Russia, actually, interesting enough, the same country that goes around and says, US dollar? No, we will never use the US dollar. Putin goes around and says, I hate the US dollar. US dollar dominance, down with US dollar dominance, is what Putin says on the news. You see, India and Russia have an oil trade agreement with each other. And again, you can go and check this up as well. They have an oil trade agreement with each other. And Russia rejected India's currency. But remember, India, Russia, China, Brazil, I thought these were BRICS nations. I thought it was a collective basket of countries coming together to use their local currencies with each other. What happened to that brotherhoodship they were sharing with each other on the news? Because in reality, it's some other story. You see, Russia actually rejected India and said, no, you can pay us back in some Russian route for the oil trades and the rest in US dollars. Russia, the same country that's in BRICS, the same country that says down with the dollar, says to India, we can't accept your currency. Instead, you can pay us in the oil trade using the Russian route and the US dollar. But again, everybody inside the crypto space will tell you the BRICS is coming, BRICS is taking over, the collective basket of local currencies. What collective basket? They won't even accept each other currencies. I mean, this is what they don't tell you about the reality of it. So again, if it's your first state of politics and finance, I understand why you'd be misguided. Because in reality, it's something else. And the International Monetary Fund, also known as the World Bank, has officially acknowledged essentially BRICS scenarios going on, nations and their local currency situation. In a surprising move, the International Monetary Fund has even launched its own CBDC platform to facilitate cross-border settlements. Now, do you see the reality of BRICS? Everybody's telling you BRICS is coming, BRICS is going to take down the dollar. Collective basket of local currencies working together. What collective basket? Russia won't even accept India's currency. They're telling India to use the US dollar to pay them for oil trades. But, on the news and inside the crypto space, they're a family. BRICS is one big family. In reality, not so much. More like a family that backstabs each other. Honestly, the reality of politics and finance compared to the La La Land version everybody hears inside the crypto space. And the reason why Russia didn't accept India's currency is because they saw it as not valuable. How can you say that if you're inside of BRICS, call India's currency not valuable to them if you're a collective of basket of local currencies? Because what's the aim of BRICS? Use each other's currencies, no? Local currency trades. So why are you not doing it, is the real question. But why are you telling everybody, yeah, we're doing it, local currencies? And they're not. It's all one big BS, okay? Regarding BRICS is one big BS. And just to put in perspective, regarding BRICS, Russia, China, India, Brazil, South Africa, what are they a part of? The Bank of International Settlements. What's America a part of? The Bank of International Settlements. What's the UK a part of? The Bank of International Settlements. What's the G20 countries a part of? The Bank of International Settlements. 6 centralized banks, the Bank of International Settlements. They're all under the same basket, technically. So what BRICS? First of all, they don't even accept their own national currencies. And second of all, they're all under the Bank of International Settlements. Again, if it's your first day to politics and finance, I understand why you're going to get misled. But if it's not your first day, you should have, realized this at a much more sooner pace. Now, next news to go through tonight's live show is Turkey drafts crypto bills to align with international standards. But before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section. That's going to be good for the space. Yeah, regarding FTX scenario. Yeah. If there's any way to say it, that's the way to say it, lot. Good morning, Professor Miles and CMF family. Funky brother, good to see you. How you doing? I will catch up tomorrow as I am busy watching the fight. No problem, Funky brother. Good evening, but a basket of apples and oranges and peaches. Perfectly put, JP. A basket of apples, oranges, and peaches. Honestly, people genuinely think, BRICS. I've never understood people who support BRICS. If you live in the West, why are you supporting BRICS? First of all, I'm not saying the US dollar is great. I mean, they are printing, non-stop. It's not great in any sort of a way. But why are you supporting BRICS? And why are you supporting the fake BRICS? The one apparently, is happy-duppy. Everybody's helping each other. In reality, nobody's helping each other in BRICS. They won't even accept their own currencies. And Russia's asking India for US dollars. The same nation that goes around, no, US dollar dominance? No. Turkey is the next news. Turkey drafts a crypto bill to align with international standards as well. It's done. The bill has finally been drafted. And Turkey is massive on cryptocurrencies as well. In a major move, Turkey drafted a crypto bill tabled by the ruling party, AK Party. Group chairperson Abdul Gurur, essentially, he was the one that drafted it, to regulate the cryptocurrency market in accordance with international standards. The proposed legislation covers various aspects of the crypto industry, including virtual asset service providers, VASPs, trading platforms, asset storage, and transactions conducted by Turkish residents. The major provision outlined in Turkey's crypto bill reported earlier in the week that Turkey was planning to submit a draft of its crypto regulation which prioritizes consumer protection and global standards. This comes after the Turkish government announced the near completion of their crypto regulatory framework to comply with the Financial Action Task Force, FATF. Now, if you're asking yourself, what is this Financial Action Task Force? It's basically the United Kingdom, the United States, Canada, Australia, Japan, and a few other countries are under the Financial Action Task Force. And Turkey is about to go under it as well. And this is a collective of countries coming together inside the crypto space, which essentially set the standards in January 2024, is when it started off. According to the draft, all cryptocurrency service providers operating Turkey must obtain licenses and register with the Capital Markets Board, CMB, the nation's financial regulator. The bill also grants the CMB expanded authority to safeguard consumer assets held by cryptocurrency service providers. This is quite important as Turkey has grown over the years to become one of the biggest markets for cryptocurrencies, which is true. Turkey has become a massive market only because their own currency has become worthless. Additionally, the bill addresses the issuance of revenue collection by tasking the CMB and Scientific and Technological Research Council of Turkey, which enforcement capabilities. The draft also emphasized the Turkish government's priority to foster a locally regulated ecosystem by prohibiting foreign crypto brokers from operating in Turkey without obtaining the necessary licenses and adhering to proposed regulations. This is good, and I'll explain why the good side of this is. Notably, the legislation seeks to align with Turkey's crypto regulations. This is very good for the crypto space, because all of this equals to more money. With international standards set by Financial Action Task Force, the FATF, a global watchdog combating essentially money washing and financing, the draft incorporates the FAT's travel rule, which mandates the cryptocurrency companies and financial institutions involved in digital asset transactions collect and share accurate information with the originators and beneficiaries of those transactions. Turkey strengthens the grip on crypto market following the FATF concerns. Turkey's move to strengthen its crypto regulations comes after the Financial Action Task Force (FATF) placed the country on its grey list. In October 2021, due to inaccurate implementations of anti-money laundering AML measures across various sectors, including banking and real estate, the government needed to regulate the crypto space, gained urgency in late 2022, driven by the ambitious plan to curb the issue of cryptocurrencies with the claim to safeguard the nation's fiat currency, the Turkish lira. The initiative faced opposition from Turkey's crypto communities, however, leading to a media outcry that later compelled the authorities to address these concerns. Despite President Erdogan's vocal calls in December 2022 to regulate the cryptocurrency industry, the introduction of the former bill was postponed, and no longer is now because it's about to be signed. Initial and the catalyst for the backlash was the leak of the draft crypto bill reportedly backed by the ruling Justice Department party AKP, which sparked outrage on social media platforms due to concerns over potential restrictive measures. In response to the widespread public outcry, government officials, including former deputy minister from AKP and senior bureaucrats from agencies like Central Bank and Treasury, convened a meeting at the Parliament December 2022 to engage with various Turkish crypto communities. Fast forward to today, the dialogue was to address the people's concerns and come to an agreement on the more exclusive regulatory frameworks. Now that Turkish authorities have proposed a comprehensive crypto regulatory framework that aligns with the Financial Action Task Force, which is the UK, the US, Canada, Japan, and so on, guidelines, Turkey seeks to balance citizen concerns with fostering a secure and reliable crypto market. So, I'll tell you the good side of this. Turkey is massive inside the crypto space. Believe it or not, Turkey actually is quite massive. You can, go and see the numbers of the countries that are widely inside the crypto space and how much usage they have and how many wallets there are, how many transactions in terms of volume is happening. And Turkey is quite, massive on that aspect. So the good side of this is, yes, some people might look at this and go, oh, this is bad and so on. Turkey is going to become strict on cryptocurrencies. And that's how some people would look at it. Now, if you look from another perspective, which is the business mindset perspective, you should be looking at the corporate side, is that if with Turkey doing this, and Turkey is quite big on cryptocurrencies, the crypto space becomes a mature place. Okay, Turkey is not only going to be doing this, but they're also going to be, removing also futures as well. And again, some people might look at it as a bad scenario, but it's actually a good scenario because crypto becomes less volatile. So with Turkey fully ready to sign a bill to completely regulate cryptocurrencies moving forward, it makes the crypto space a much more mature place inside of Turkey. It also helps their economy as well. But in terms of worldwide basis now, for how is it going to positive you living in a different country if you're inside the crypto space? Well, this is how it's going to benefit you. When the crypto space becomes a much more mature place in country by country, it means that more corporates, more people from the corporate sector, corporations in general, will be entering the crypto space, and they have all the money. All these corporations are the ones that have the money. The retail section is completely broke. And still till this day, people will tell you inside the crypto sector, oh yeah, the Bitcoin ETFs is, the retail section that helped the Bitcoin ETFs. No, because the data, actual proof from the SEC, 13F filings shows there's 937 corporations inside of Bitcoin ETFs, and they're holding ridiculous amounts. One of them is holding 2 billion. So no, it's not the retail section that pushed the Bitcoin ETFs high in any sort of a way at all. It's the corporations. 937 of them filed their 13F filings to tell the SEC, yes, we're holding Bitcoin ETFs. And still, people to this day inside the crypto space, I've seen it more yesterday. Yesterday, I saw somebody, I'm not going to mention who this person was, but yesterday I saw somebody doing a crypto live and they were saying, yep, it's the cryptos, it's the retail section inside the Bitcoin ETFs that are pushing them to new limits. I mean, I don't know where people get these random law datas from. But the reality of the actual data is it's the corporate section that's pushing the Bitcoin ETFs higher and higher. So Turkey essentially bringing in the regulations makes the crypto a much more mature place, which means more corporations will be entering from Turkey's side in that aspect. But more countries are following that footstep of making a much more mature place. When the crypto sector becomes regulated, some might see it as a bad thing, the morons. In reality, it's a good scenario because it's going to be happening either way. And if you're positioned in the correct projects, you're going to make a lot of money for yourself, essentially, because the corporations are going to be entering the crypto projects you're holding if you're holding legitimate projects. How you can tell? Contracts. Who are they contracted with, the crypto projects? Are they going to be in 5 years' time? Is what you should be looking at. Not imaginary deals. A lot of people, for example, there's some people inside the crypto space that think there's a crypto project. I'm not even joking. There's a crypto project called Chain Swap. Okay, I'm not even joking about this. There's a crypto project called Chain Swap. And there are people inside the crypto space that are saying Chain Swap, which is a random project. And what does this sound familiar to? Chain Link. The real crypto project, Chain Link, and the fake crypto project, Chain Swap. There's people inside the crypto space that are so brainwashed by influencers going, yep, Chain Swap. And this is what I mean by being positioned in the correct project for these corporations. They're saying Chain Swap is better than Chain Link. Even though Chain Swap came after Chain Link, first of all, the name is very similar. Second of all, they're saying just because they share the same CCIP, it means that they share the same contracts. No, it doesn't at all. If JP Morgan is using Ethereum to build their Onyx token and they're releasing it to the corporate sector, does that mean that Shiba Inu is partnered with JP Morgan? Because where is that logic coming from, people, where they assume ChainSwap uses CCIP and Chainlink uses CCIP? Therefore, because Chainlink has these partnerships, that means that, ChainSwap has the partnerships also. How? How do people come to these conclusions? Honestly, genuinely, it's like JP Morgan using Ethereum for Onyx, and then Shiba Inu is on Ethereum. They go, oh yeah, well, Shiba Inu is partnered with JP Morgan now. How? It makes no sense. So, if you're positioned, going back to what I said, if you're positioned in the correct projects, and you can tell from contracts, not imaginary deals, contracts. If you're positioned in the correct projects that corporations are going to be entering in, and you can tell because there are contracts in place with IBM or Bank of America or JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs or Fidelity or BlackRock, and the list just goes on. If you look at these contracts in the crypto sector, you can tell who's going to get the money from corporates. You can easily tell. So stop looking at imaginary deals and stop positioning yourself correctly, because the corporations are entering. Whether you like it or not, the crypto space will become like the traditional financial space with regulations. So, as I said previously, you can go and cry about it and say, oh, I can't believe, crypto isn't decentralized anymore, because it was never going to be decentralized anymore. We live in a world where governments and corporations control everything. And you think, oh yeah, we're going to have decentralization. We don't even have freedom of speech. And you think we're going to have decentralization. So, what you should be focusing on essentially is projects that are inside the corporate sector, and countries like Turkey that are coming in and doing full regulations. That's a good sign. Again, how you look at it from a business perspective is a good sign. If you position the right projects, you position in projects that are going to be money entering from corporates, you're good to go. Because crypto becomes a much more mature place, which means with regulations, and institutions will enter it because it's a mature place and it's regulated, which is more money enters the crypto space, which means if you're on the right projects, the money will enter in the projects that you're in. So, that's a good side of it. Okay. But yeah, honestly, that made me crack up so much. There are people inside the crypto space that actually think, ChainSwap that uses CCIP and Chainlink that uses CCIP, it's practically the same thing. Chainlink has those partnerships, or social, ChainSwap and so on and so on. Makes zero sense where people get some logic from the crypto sector. And I can't blame them, because first of all, they're probably most likely beginners, or they've been inside the crypto space for so long they're following the wrong person. But yeah, that's a good news. Regarding Turkey doing that, that's massive news. It means more money is about to be entering from Turkey's side. And if you're in the right projects, legitimate projects inside the crypto space, that means you're on the good side of crypto. More money is about to be entering from the corporate side. Also, a lot of countries nearing Turkey would use Turkey as a off-ramp, on-ramp type of situation as well. Now, the next news is also quite good as well. Is US House to vote on 2 landmark crypto bills next week. The US House recently did a revote of the situation of the SEC scenario, which we talked about already, but putting that to one side. The US House is now getting ready to vote on 2 landmark crypto bills next week, which we're about to go through. But before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section. I think Turkey has the population of, I think it's 85 to 90 million people. Yes, it's true. Roughly. Miles, what have I missed so far? Can you give us a quick briefing at the end of the show? Yes, definitely. As always, I always give a quick briefing of what we talked about at the end of the live show, but we're nowhere near the end yet. Nowhere near it. We still have quite a bit to go through. A lot of things happening inside the crypto sector. Miles, I guess if AI will replace 95 jobs and those people will be under universal basic income, are you saying that if we have invested in the proper ISO coins, we benefit from the funding of the UBI? Correct. Yes, that's the reality of it. And honestly, that's the reality of it. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying for you. You're benefiting from other people's misery. But, if they were smart enough, they wouldn't be in that position. Unfortunately, some people aren't that smart. And some people get brainwashed too easily. I always tell people, if you can't handle the market, stay away from it. If you bring emotions into the market, stay away from it. I think they're all pulling the same chain. Yeah. US House. US House to vote on 2 landmark crypto bills next week. Next week, there will be a significant legislative activity as the US House of Representatives prepares to vote on 2 key bills, HR 503 and HR 4451. These bills are poised to have a substantial impact on the regulation of digital currencies and securities within the United States. There's a big deal going on next week, potentially reshaping the financial landscape. Now, you might think, oh, well, this is only relatable to the US. Incorrect. You see, the International Monetary Fund actually made quite a powerful statement. The International Monetary Fund and the Bank of International Settlements, so the World Bank essentially, said when America sneezes, the world catches a cold. The rest of the markets around the world catch a cold when America sneezes. And facts. No matter how you want to look at it, the US is losing power, the dollar is weak, this and that. The US sneezes, in reality, the rest of the world catches a cold. It's facts, no matter how you look at it. So, regarding, this is going to be reshaping the financial landscape, yes, it's not just for the US, for the entire world as well. House to vote on crypto regulation bills. The first of the bills, HR 5403, known as the CBDC Anti-Surveillance State Act, proposes a stringent of limitations on the Federal Reserve's involvement with digital currencies. Especially, it will prevent the Federal Reserve from issuing a central bank digital currency, CBDC, directly to individuals from using CBDCs to execute monetary policies. Moreover, the Act seeks to stop the Department of the Treasury from directing the issuance of CBDCs, aiming to protect citizens from potential financial surveillance and control. You see, what the bill forgets to mention is that CBDCs technically shouldn't be coming from the Federal Reserve, and CBDCs technically shouldn't be coming from the Treasury Department either. You see, CBDCs are supposed to be coming from, technically, Bank of America. But it doesn't mention Bank of America. This bill has extensive implications as it reinforces separations between government institutions and direct consumers. Financial products, by restricting these capabilities, the bill advocates for a more prioritized approach to digital currencies away from the federal oversight and control. HR 4451, titled the Securities Clarity Act, intends to refine the definition of what constitutes a security. The bill clearly exempts investment contract assets, which are sold pursuant to the investment contract and are not entirely securities, from being treated as such from regulatory purposes. This classification directly affects how cryptocurrencies are viewed and managed under federal law, potentially easing the regulatory burden on the cryptocurrency companies. The bill's clarity is expected to encourage innovation and investments within the crypto space by offering a clearer regulatory framework. It aims to remove the significant uncertainties that currently cloud the classification and treatment of digital assets. Also, you might be thinking, you might be also thinking that regarding, politicians are coming together to go against CBDCs. Yeah, the politicians don't care about the people on CBDCs. The politicians don't care about regular folks. If they did care about regular folks, you would have better jobs inside the United States. You'd be paid better inside the United States. You would have proper healthcare inside the United States. I mean, the list goes on of what you could have had proper inside the United States. So obviously, the politicians don't care about the people. What they do care about is their wages are going to be going on CBDCs. And when politicians are, being paid in CBDCs, it's quite difficult for politicians to receive political donations under the table. How can you be a politician and receive political donations under the table in CBDCs? Now, you might be thinking, well, the politician can, get paid in cryptocurrencies. Yes, but that's also public. But when politicians when politicians are going after CBDCs, they technically want cash to stay around so their political donations don't stop. So again, they're not doing this for the public. They're not doing it because they care about the public, and CBDCs will control people, and they don't want that because they care about you. No, politicians don't care about people. They care about their own wages, and they care about their own political donations, not being in the public eye and not being on CBDCs. Because they're government workers, which means CBDCs will be their new wages. Obviously, they don't want that. But they shape it in a way as, we care about the American citizen. We care about your privacy, is what they'll say to the news, to everybody on the news. In reality, they care about their own donations, political donations, under the table deals, all of that. They can't do that on CBDCs or on cryptocurrencies. It's public blockchain. And CBDCs are monitored. The bill's clarity is expected to encourage innovation and investments within the crypto space by offering a clearer regulatory framework. It aims to remove significant uncertainties that currently cloud the classification and treatment of digital assets. The legislative efforts essentially follow the US Senate's recent decision to repeal Staff Accounting Bulletin 121 SAB 121, which gathered essentially support and indicates a growing legislative focus on cryptocurrencies and asset regulations. In addition, influential groups such as the Crypto Council Innovation (CCI) and prominent firms like Coinbase and Gemini have expressed their support for another related bill, the Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act (FIT21). The FIT21 proposes a comprehensive regulatory framework for digital asset managed jointly by the Commodities Futures Trading Commission (CFTC) and the SEC. This act focuses on customer protection measures such as fund segregation, risk disclosures, and conflict of essentially interest regulations, enhancing the overall stability and transparency of the digital asset market space. But yeah, two massive bills happening next week inside the United States, which is definitely going to be reshaping the financial landscape. One, to the anti-CBDC bill, which is going to go against the Feds introducing, or the Treasury introducing CBDCs inside the United States. And the second is, the security scenario of cryptocurrencies. So there are two massive bills inside the United States. But yeah, the CBDC scenario of, politicians, we care, politicians don't care. And somebody said something smart on social media once. There's a guy on social media, I'm not fully aware of what his name is, but there's a guy on social media, on TikTok, I think the app is. I think he's doing on TikTok or he's doing on X, I'm not sure, but he makes these, small statements. And one statement he made, I think should pass by law, which is politicians should wear, how race car drivers wear jackets with their sponsors all over the jacket. So race car drivers, like Formula One drivers, they would wear their race car jackets and they'll have sponsors everywhere. Who sponsors them? And he said, well, to make it more, essentially transparent with politicians of who's controlling them, we should have, essentially pass a law where politicians will be wearing sponsored jackets as well, so we can see who's controlling that particular politician, because we'll see the logos of which corporations are actually controlling and dictating what they do in the real world, which I think is not a bad idea. It might seem like a joke, but it's really not a bad idea of politicians wearing a sponsored jacket no matter where they go, so we can tell who's controlling this bastard. Miles, I guess I think they're all pulling the same chain, because they own Bank of America and every other bank. Because they might say it might compromise the politician's privacy or something like that. Interesting enough, they're actually not saying it compromises the politician's privacy. They're actually saying it compromises the people's privacy. The whole idea of the bill that go against CBDCs is it compromises the people's privacy, as if politicians care about your privacy. They couldn't care less if you could pay your bills, pay your rent, pay food, buy water, pay electricity. But no, they care about your privacy now when it comes to CBDCs. Do you think they will come up with their privacy coin or politician, etc.? No. Because the government wants to control it. Politicians are peasants as well. Politicians are also peasants. Just like everybody else is from the retail section. We're all peasants to them. And politicians are peasants as well. They just need somebody to fill the position to control the other peasants. Now, politicians think because they're above the other peasants, they're not considered peasants. But they've been brainwashed to think like that. In reality, politicians are also peasants. They just put people essentially in place to feed the information and make them feel important. No, the first question came second. Careful, you'll go dark in a minute. Probably, which is a good thing as we're coming up to the endings of the live show. Thank you, Shelly, for looking after me. We're coming up to the endings of the live show as well. So, the gist of everything we talked about the bills inside the crypto space that are coming next week. 2 massive bills happening inside the crypto space. We also talked about Turkey drafting the bill, about to sign the bill, which is bullish news. So we did go through some bullish news on tonight's live show as well, and some political news which we had to go through to know what's happening in the political scale in terms of cryptocurrencies. So the bullish news, obviously, one of the bullish news on tonight's live show was regarding Turkey drafting a bill, which is massive, makes the crypto space a much more legitimate place. Corporations from Turkey can start entering the crypto space, and Turkey is quite massive inside the crypto space in terms of money. Then we talked about BRICS as well on tonight's live show. Then we talked about Gemini, how they're going to be paying back everybody. Now, if that's cash, that would be bullish for the market space. If that's cryptocurrencies, that would be volatile for the crypto market space. Regarding Gemini, starting next month, paying back everybody. If they pay it back in cash, extremely bullish. So we have to see what the percentage ratio is going to be. Then we talked about Venezuela as well on tonight's live show. Regarding mining, the cancellation of Bitcoin mining. And then we talked about the godfather of AI on tonight's live show as well, advising the United Kingdom to go on the universal basic income, because most people might be about to lose their jobs. Then we talked about Tether, essentially how they've announced a hole punch scenario. So Tether's getting involved in the data section as well. And then we talked about the BlackRock CIO, who's also hinted some positive signs regarding the rate cuts. If we have rate cuts, it's positive. If we don't have rate cuts, it's also positive for the crypto space. So that was another bullish news we went from tonight's live show. Then we talked about the BVNK, how they've integrated stablecoins, PYUSD, for business payments. That's also bullish in the corporate sector as well, that we talked about tonight's live show, which means more money in terms of the corporate sector coming in. The crypto space has become a much more mature place. Then we also talked about tonight's live show regarding Vitalik Buterin and how he's trying to change Ethereum completely, so it doesn't fall under some strict rules inside the EU regarding terms of their regulations. And then we talked about on tonight's live show also regarding fund managers predicting the SEC ETF that's going to be announced next week. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? We have to see. But the majority of them saying maybe it's not going to be accepted because that's spark isn't there inside the crypto space. And then we also talked about the blockchain gaming sector that's disrupting the gaming, that's disrupting essentially a new financial avenue stream that's been created regarding the gaming sector. It's been projected that the gaming sector is going to be sitting at, alongside in 2028, about $88.6 billion. So we talked about quite a lot, and we went through some bullish news, we went through some political news, we went through some regulation news, we went through quite a bit of news actually. And we have reached the endings of this live show. So if you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it tomorrow, and tune into it every single night on X and on YouTube. And CMF, thank you so much to everybody from the CMF, first of all, as always, for tuning in every single night, for tapping on the screen, for retweeting the live show on X, for liking the live show on X. Thanks so much to every single one of you for growing the CMF family day by day as well. And if you enjoyed this live show, if you're watching it for the first time, drop a follow, drop a like if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on X, and tune into it every single night. We talk about cryptocurrencies, recent news that's happening around the world. We talk about cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, regulation, politics, because it all plays in together. So yeah, if you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it every single night. 11:25 p.m. UK time, this live show starts. Before we go before we end, obviously, let's go through the comment section. Night Bowser CMF, thank you for your news, as always. Let's go, JP. JP, see you tomorrow, brother, same time as usual. Careful before you go dark. And then the last 15 minutes, we just went down. Darker and darker and darker low. Let's go. Good night, Miles and CMF. Freedom forever. See you tomorrow, sometime as usual. Miles, thank you, CMF. Let's go. XOP then. See you tomorrow, sometime as usual. Good night, Miles. I will catch up tomorrow. Frankie Butter. See you tomorrow, sometime as usual. I wish I could say hello to everybody, but I don't know. I won't. It won't let me. They're from JP. JP brother. See you tomorrow, sometime as usual. And JP says hi to everyone. JP, I'll say the hi for you. What will do better in the long game? ACH or XDC? Not asking for financial advice, just your opinion. What will do better in the long term? ACH or XDC? XDC. Good night, Miles and CMF. Coin, good to see you tomorrow, sometime as usual as well, Coin. Yeah, Joe, XDC will obviously do better in the long term, but ACH will also do great in the long term. If ACH comes off Ethereum and establishes their own chain, it will be better for them. But XDC will... They're both great projects, but XDC has the edge over it. Thank you. Let's go, JP. I will see everybody tomorrow. Genuine media, thank you so much. Honestly, thank you so much to everybody from the CMF that tunes in every single night on these live shows. And if you're watching this for the first time, drop a follow, drop a like. Thank you so much to everybody from the CMF that tunes in every single night. I'll see everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. If you're watching this for the first time as well, thank you so much for tuning in. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you're around the world, CMF. All good, JP. We know everyone says hi to one another, even if we don't do it singly. Let's go. Facts. What Shelly said. Absolutely facts. Thank you, Miles. Good night, everyone. Anna, see you tomorrow, sometime as usual. Good night. Bless you, Miles. Kicks will be done. I'll see everybody tomorrow, same time as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. See you tomorrow, same time as usual, CMF.